Energy costs are on the rise. Is it time to shop around? I'll have a report.
There will be a full investigation on the lobster deaths in Long Island Sound. I'll have the story.
And the lollipop fair is coming.
The Village of Mamaroneck softball games are over, and we'll have a list of all the winners.
And we'll have some news from Mamaroneck Village trustees. We will continue with our coverage of the West Nile virus, and some changes have been made to the senior taxi ride program. So listen up. Those stories and more, all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the third week of September 2000. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story?
The United Way of Westchester and Putnam is debating whether to cut its funding for the Boy Scouts of America because of the organization's policy of excluding gays. In June, the Supreme Court backed the decision of Boy Scouts of America to have the right as a private organization to decide who can be a member. This year, the United Way gave $150,000 to the Westchester Putnam Boy Scout Council. But donors to the United Way are calling and asking what the organization's position regarding the Boy Scouts is.
Shopping around for your energy provider is becoming more of a reality for everyday consumers. With heating oil and gas prices soaring, homeowners are being encouraged to shop around before they get burned. Experts are saying that customers may want to focus on comparison shopping to determine which company is offering the best prices and packages for their energy dollars. Consumers are encouraged to look for a plan that has a price cap or a fixed price. The price cap option ensures consumers that they will never pay more than the cap price and could pay less should prices fall. The fixed price option remains constant at all times, and you could lose out if the price of your energy source should fall. Westchester County Department of Consumer Affairs Director Elaine Price suggests consumers call now and lock in the price for the year. Part of the reason behind the high energy prices is that reserves are lower than last year. The dip in reserves has inspired more drilling, and the hope is that in 6 to 12 months we'll see a change in the market. But we still have winter to get through, and who knows what Mother Nature could bring our way.
For about a year, lobster fishermen have seen the lobster population in Long Island Sound decline. No one has been able to pinpoint the reasons yet, but fishermen are now asking whether the insecticide spraying against the spreading of West Nile virus may have something to do with it. When this year's spraying began, the population of blue claw crabs was diminished. The charges by the lobstermen are currently being investigated by university laboratories, and there are scientists who believe that there is a connection. Further research has to prove it. Meanwhile, the lobstermen have filed a lawsuit seeking at least $125 million in damages from the manufacturers of 4 of the chemicals used during the spraying.
Well, New York State has sought emergency federal aid in the amount of $20 million to support the ongoing cost of the West Nile virus. The Clinton administration denied those funds, and Governor Pataki says he will appeal. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, sent a letter indicating that the Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, which has distributed $2.7 million to 17 states and 2 cities to fund virus-related programs, is the agency that needs to be contacted. It is against federal law for the FEMA to preempt the CDC's authority. The CDC has provided New York State with $350,000, which doesn't even come close to the $14 million spent last year. Governor Pataki has 30 days to appeal to the FEMA. To date, the West Nile virus has been found in 51 of New York's 62 counties. Spraying continues in areas of Westchester County. People are being diagnosed with the virus in increasing numbers, with up to 11 in New York City. Thankfully, no deaths related to the virus have been reported this year. For more information, you can feel free to call the West Nile virus hotline at 637-2420 or the Westchester County Department of Health at 637-4700, or visit their website at www.westchestergov.com/health.
A Larchmont man escapes from the Westchester County Jail. For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
David Bouchard of Larchmont is back behind bars following a brief escape from the Westchester County Jail this past week. Bouchard, with the help of another inmate, hid inside a trash bin and was wheeled off to an outside trash area. Once outside, Bouchard scaled a fence, but was soon spotted by a correctional worker running from the prison. William Rem, a spokesman for the Westchester County Police, was quoted in the Journal News as saying, "Across the street from the facility, Bouchard was able to catch a taxi, which drove him south on Route 9A toward Elmsford. A tow truck driver who had heard an advisory on his scanner about the escape spotted Bouchard and notified Greenburgh Police. The tow truck driver followed the cab and the police, then chased the cab east on Interstate 287 and then south on the Hutchinson River Parkway." End of quote. Detective Dennis DeMille was also quoted in the Journal News as saying, "Before the cab came to a stop, Bouchard jumped out and fled on foot." End of quote. He was finally apprehended by Detective DeMille and the tow truck driver in the backyard of a private residence. David Bouchard was originally in jail charged on burglary. Now the first charge of first-degree escape will be added. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The fight over the proposed IKEA store in New Rochelle between the city of New Rochelle and the town of Mamaroneck continues. Mamaroneck officials now charge that IKEA doesn't listen to their concerns and did not try to schedule a meeting with the town as they had promised. New Rochelle and IKEA plan to build the store between I-95 and 5th Avenue next to the New Rochelle-Mamaroneck town border. Town Supervisor Valerie Moore O'Keefe was quoted in the Journal News saying, "We have come to see the emptiness of their promises and total lack of good faith." End of quote. IKEA responded to the Journal News with a statement by its president. He said that he would sit down with the town once the draft environmental impact statement is released. He said, "We will definitely hear more about the project and we will update you."
Well, Mamaroneck Village trustees Martha Sokol-McCarty, Phil Trifoletti, and Mike Sedano stopped by our studios to tell us about the latest news in the village of Mamaroneck. With the interview, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Very excited, actually. You know, the September, everyone comes back from vacation, and we've been having soccer under the lights with the MJSL.
That's great.
And it's just great seeing all our kids there, and all day Saturday you can go down to the harbor. And then the nice thing is, last year it started, and this year it's really going great, is Sound Shore football.
Wonderful.
Which,
Yeah, we just came from the football practice that they
Daniel
have at
Warren.
Daniel Warren. There must have been close to, I guess, 60 children there, maybe more.
I bet more like 100.
Yeah, we have some great coaches there, and they're
wonderful.
teaching the kids how to play football in a competitive league out of Portchester, so it's really great.
We have some wonderful coaches.
Is there still time for children if they want to get on a football team, or?
That's a good question. They would have to call recreation,
And what-
because I know they have first scrimmages this Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but being there tonight was a Mr. Dom Ianello, who
Yeah.
in the old days we would call Papa Bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Papa Bear with Eddie Marlock and Rudy Amatuzzo, they were the
The
godfathers.
old coaches.
Yeah,
Old coaches,
and
yeah.
now there's Kevin O'Shea, who's a Rhinebeck resident.
Yes,
you know,
who
with his,
really helped start football
and
again.
he's carried it right over, and it's so good to see. It's really exciting, and the schools have been nice.
Yep.
They're going to be using Mamaroneck High School for 4 Sunday games, and
great.
also Rhinebeck, and we're hoping that one night they come down to the harbor and play under the lights, where it be Field of Dreams,
Yeah.
like the soccer kids had
Yeah.
last week.
They'll come.
Yeah.
And they have a cheerleading squad,
Oh, excellent.
and everybody gets into it. It's wonderful.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Now, if anyone wants to come see a game or get more involved, what number can they call?
Call recreation.
I would say call recreation.
And recreation will give them the number. And the recreation number, I know you'll know, Mike.
7784.
777.
Right.
7784.
That's
Okay.
it.
And I understand code enforcing this year is going to be pretty serious.
Right.
Yes, well, you know, because of the streetscape, we're really serious about litter and about garbage. These are quality of life issues. We have a lot of merchants who will put their garbage out at night, which they're not supposed to do. It's supposed to wait for the morning. So So we put it, I guess, in the budget.
What we did was we put a new position in place for a full-time code enforcer in this year's budget. And we planned that over the last year, actually last 2 years. And we
Yeah.
also got a grant for a half-time code enforcer. And at the same time, what we've done is we've raised the fines that will be charged people who violate the law.
What are the fines? What do they range
The
from?
fines range for the first offense at $75, second $150, and the third $225. But the key here is that we're going to have code enforcement now on Saturday and Sundays,
Yes.
and also into the night. There'll be nighttime code enforcement. Now, these plans are not quite finalized yet, but in the near future, we hope that they will be finalized, and in fact, we will have extensive code enforcement, which is something that we've said we needed and wanted for the last 2 years.
Okay, now what hours will the code enforcers be out?
It'll probably be 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday, and
Okay.
probably on at least 2 nights a week up until 11 o'clock at night.
It was a bad time for a fire under a Metro North train at the beginning of last week. More than 80 trains were delayed during the evening rush when a Grand Central bound train caught fire and had to be stopped at the New Rochelle station at 5:20 p.m. A crew member of a northbound train had noticed at a station stop in Larchmont that smoke was coming from the next to last car of the 7-car southbound train. Once the train with the smoke-developing car reached New Rochelle station, the power to all tracks was cut to allow firefighters to reach the car safely. Passengers on the disabled train were evacuated. Only 2 people, a passenger and a train conductor, had to be taken to the hospital. The passenger suffered an anxiety attack, while the conductor had to be treated for smoke inhalation. The train was finally pulled from the station by a diesel engine at 7 p.m., but it took another 2 hours until trains were running on schedule again. The cause of the fire is under investigation. We don't get to talk a lot about sports on this program, but this week we can. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Jan Flowers has the final results of the village's softball league.
And the winning pitcher is Mike Chaparelli of the Mamaroneck Village Pub softball team. MVP also happens to be this year's softball champions in the village of Mamaroneck. MVP was able to hold off their rivals by 1 run in the championship game and for an 11-10 win. The Mamaroneck Village Pub's record for the season was 13-3, but there are 3 divisions in the Village of Mamaroneck Softball League. The Mamaroneck Village Pub players are in the men's A division. In the women's division, the Mamaroneck Village Pub has something even more wonderful to cheer about: a perfect season. The Mamaroneck Village Pub's women's softball team had a record of 12 wins and no defeats. In the men's B division, the trophy went to the Coach's Corner softball team. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Jan Flowers.
And we'd like to welcome Jan as our newest volunteer for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. And if you'd like to find out more about community television, stick around and hear how you can get involved later in this program. And with that, we have to let seniors know they've got to listen up. There's been some changes made in the Village of Mamaroneck Senior Citizen Taxi Ride Program. Here with all the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Senior Taxi Program. Seniors in the Village of Mamaroneck may now purchase a maximum of 4 books with 10 $1 coupons in each book per month and use up to 10 coupons per taxi ride. All seniors must be pre-certified by the Village of Mamaroneck Community Services Department at Village Hall, which is located at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. You must show proof of age, 60 years or older, and you must be the resident of the Village of Mamaroneck. The Senior Citizen Taxi Ride Program allows the seniors to purchase these coupon books at a 50% savings. Coupon books can be purchased at the Senior Nutrition Center at 740 West Boston Post Road on Wednesdays from 1 to 2 p.m. or at the Clerk Treasurer's Office at 123 Mamaroneck Avenue, Mondays through Fridays from 9:30 to 3:30 p.m. These coupons are not refundable. Paramount Taxi and Mamaroneck Taxi are the 2 companies participating in the Senior Taxi Program. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The Mamaroneck United Methodist Church is having its annual Lollipop Fair. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger has more.
Well, history says it began in the 50s, and it was something that Mamaroneck Church did with a community nursery school. And it was famous. There are many people who are grown up now who have fond memories of the Lollipop Fair.
And they have a train that kids can ride on?
Oh yeah. In the circle, there's a train ride that I think the parents have just as much fun with as the little kids. So if anyone's interested, they should come over and take a train ride.
Okay, what other activities will be?
Well, there's a lot of activities for families.
Okay.
The Mamaroneck United Methodist Church and the community nursery school are interested in kid-oriented things, things that are appropriate for people in this community and value-oriented. So games that children can play and win. Everybody leaves as a winner. Everybody gets a prize, and I get to dress up as the Dolly Lolly and give out lollipops on behalf of the church community. So it's just a lot of fun.
And I understand for the adults there is a silent auction?
Oh yeah, and they're very good value. You come and you bid on these things. I know I just received 2 tickets, 40-yard line to the Giants.
Wow.
That we're going to be auctioning off. So if anybody's interested in that, come on over. There's artwork, there's all kinds of things.
Oh, great. Now, what time will the fair begin?
The fair begins around 10 o'clock and goes until 5 in the afternoon.
And the admission is free, correct?
Free, always free, always free.
Okay. And some of the proceeds are donated to local community charity?
Right. What we do with this is we have a mission committee that works, and last year they gave to the CAP Center and to other things in the community that we choose to give to. So it's a way to go out and have fun with your kids, but also do some good for some people in the community. And the nursery school also makes improvements in their playgrounds or in other things with that, so that we can have a really fun place for our children.
Sounds wonderful and exciting. If anyone would like to help volunteer, is there a phone number they can call?
Oh, sure. 698-4343, and we'd be happy to get you to Eric Jones, who is our volunteer coordinator, and he'd be happy to sign you up for anything you'd like to do.
Well, thank you for coming, and I'll see you on Saturday.
Okay. I'll see you Saturday.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it is replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School building, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. We'll see you next week. We don't have anything. Voluntary curfew is broken at the Westchester Airport.
I'll have an update on the future of the Boy Scouts.
IKEA hands in its environmental impact statement. We have the story.
Westchester County wants a new prison.
Those stories, a fight over what makes the right kind of pet, and more, all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the last week of September 2000. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story?
This year, 3 seats are up for election on the village board. The incumbents, Republicans Martha Sokol-McCarthy, Phil Trifoletti, and Michael Sedano, are facing 3 Democrats, Guy Zarega, Kathy Zavolt, and Pete McConnell. Zarega is a teacher at Greenwich High School. Zavolt is a former assistant dean at Columbia University, Health Service Division, and now works as a part-time consultant. McConnell is a former corporate tax manager for General Telephone and Electronics Corporation, who works as a tax consultant. He also is a member of the Mamaroneck Village Budget Committee. We plan to introduce all candidates on our program over the next couple of weeks. The election is on November 7th.
Well, the cost of living is making it hard for many middle-class families to make it in Westchester County, not to mention low-income and poverty-level individuals. In a recent study conducted in part by the statewide Youth Advocacy, it was found that residents in Westchester and other counties need to earn 4 to 6 times as much as minimum wage jobs pay in order to meet the basic needs of their families without government help. The numbers point out that families need higher wages, more government subsidies, or both if they are to ever be self-sufficient. As an example, a $9 an hour job brings in only $37,000 a year. This is at almost less than half of what the study says is needed. The study suggests that a family with 2 adults and 3 children needs an income of at least $84,816 in Westchester County. Government aid for housing, food, and child care, as well as better public transportation, higher wages, and more health insurance are all recommended to improve quality of life.
Here's an update on a story we did last week. We reported that the United Way of Westchester and Putnam is debating whether to cut its funding for the Boy Scouts of America because of the organization's policy of excluding gays. In June, the Supreme Court backed the decision of Boy Scouts of America to have the right as a private organization to decide who can be a member. But it's not just the United Way that is reviewing its contribution. Religious groups are also looking at the new policy and their financial support. These groups sponsor 61% of the Boy Scout units nationwide. The Catholic Church and Mormon Church together sponsor 34%. Both churches are strictly opposed to the sex outside of marriage, both homosexual and heterosexual. In Westchester and Putnam, 41% of the funding comes from the Catholic, 16% from the Presbyterian, and 12% from the United Methodist churches. The Boy Scouts are now caught in the middle between groups that want them to stick with their policy of barring gays and others who want them to change the policy.
Well, IKEA has presented its environmental impact study to the city of New Rochelle. Now it is in the hands of city officials to analyze and determine how the proposed building of an IKEA furniture store in New Rochelle's City Park neighborhood, bordering the town of Mamaroneck, will affect the area. IKEA claims that it will not only bring in substantial revenue for the city, but improve the quality of water flowing into storm drains and provide several more jobs. However, at the same time, it would change residential neighborhoods by bringing in more traffic, putting more pollutants into the air, and force dozens of residents and businesses to relocate. The study says it could bring in as much as $1.9 million in property taxes. IKEA has already bought 40% of the properties in the 16-acre area it hopes to build on. Groups opposing IKEA are anxious to examine the document and assess it for themselves. The 980-page draft environmental statement could change if the council decides it does not address all possible effects on people and the environment. If you're interested in a copy, you may be able to get one at the New Rochelle Public Library and the City Clerk's office in New Rochelle.
Differences seem to be clashing in Mamaroneck. For more, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
On October 4th, the town of Mamaroneck will hold a public hearing for the citizens to hear the pros and cons of a possible law which would restrict certain animal ownership. In particular, chickens, roosters, and fowls of any type would be restricted. The town administrator states that they make noise, can be dirty, and could carry diseases. Pigs have already been restricted. The proposed law would add all types of fowl, goats, and sheep to the list of forbidden pets. The Lynn family does not see the difference between fowls and dogs. Dr. Lynn states that dogs bark in the neighborhood when people walk by. The 19 chickens of the Lynn family are kept in a coop and pen in the front yard of their home. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
The voluntary curfew has been broken at the Westchester Airport. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Jan Flowers has the story.
Atlantic Southeast Airlines is hoping for increased passenger traffic on its new 5:59 a.m. flight out of Westchester Airport. The Atlanta-bound early morning flight sparked protests over airport noise by residents who are fearful that this violation of the voluntary midnight to 6:30 a.m. curfew will encourage other carriers to follow suit. Westchester County officials said that the Atlantic Southeast flight averaged 26 passengers on the 50-seat plane for the first 4 days after its first flight over the Labor Day weekend. Since then, the average boarding has decreased by about 2 passengers, according to Atlantic Southeast spokesman Sam Watts. Watts had said the airline anticipating serving about 35 people a day on the flight to Atlanta, compared with 10 or 11 people who had used the now discontinued 9 p.m. flight. Watts added that the airline's past experience has shown that there was a decline in travel in September and then it begins to pick up again in October. Other than the persuasion and the economic pressure of a boycott, local officials say there is little that can be done because regulation of airports is largely a federal responsibility. A federal court in the early 1980s threw out Westchester's mandatory curfew at the airport. County Executive Andrew Spano hopes to meet with Atlantic Southeast officials to persuade them to delay the flights. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Jan Flowers.
A new prison referendum is being offered for voter approval this November. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray has more.
Westchester County wants a new prison. In November, voters will vote on a referendum for a $59 million project to replace the old Westchester prison that was built in 1916. The Board of Legislators voted 16-1 in favor of the plan proposed by County Executive Andrew Spano. The new prison will be a 58,700 square foot 4-story building. The new facility will expand space for education and rehabilitation programs, which hopefully will lower the number of repeat offenders. Spano has stated that it is time for a new facility because New York State has declared the old building unfit for human habitation. If the county does not take action in replacing the old facility, the state will take the county to court to force the building of a new jail. According to William Ryan, chairman of the board's Public Safety Committee, the old jail is messy and that it has been falling apart for a long time. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
A Mamaroneck couple willed almost their entire $1 million estate to the Sweetbriar College for Women in Virginia. J. Stanley Hare and Margaret Hare are the couple that generously remembered Margaret's alma mater when they willed this incredible gift to the school she loved. Margaret Hare died in 1996. Her husband died in June of last year. there were no children. Hunter Megan, a Mamaroneck attorney who served as the executor of the will, said she was a Virginian, and with no children here, that's where she wanted the money to go. Muriel Marvin, who served with Mrs. Hare in the Daughters of the American Revolution, said Margaret cared about patriotism, education, and historic preservation, but was thrifty and didn't spend a lot on fancy clothes. Sweetbriar College will be using this donation as a way to attract students who cannot afford tuition. Greg Moody, college spokesman, says, "It makes a world of difference for our students. It gives people an education they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford."
Many viewers of LMC TV were disappointed last week when they were not able to watch the flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis on Channel 73. According to LMC TV Executive Director Eric Lewis, there were some technical glitches and new people on staff during the time. The next shuttle flight is scheduled for the beginning of October. By that time, we should be able to watch the mission again. The satellite transmission will only be interrupted for regularly scheduled programming.
Eric Lewis, Executive Director of LMC TV, what happened?
Well, I understand from people that everybody's upset, some people are, about the interruption of the NASA programming in Channel 73. And first I want to apologize to the Larchmont and Mamaroneck community.
Sure.
This was a lapse, this was an oversight, this was a screw up on our part. Basically it came from ignorance of the fact that people were expecting NASA programming continuously on that channel from the time that when we're not doing our usual programming from 6 to 10 at night. And I had made a decision to put the bulletin board up there at various times to inform people what's happening in the community. Right. And we weren't that cognizant of what was happening with NASA. Well, I just want to assure people that that's been corrected. We now, that's been corrected.
It will never happen again.
I can't say that.
Well, I think you'll do your best that it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely. We'll do our best. Now, I just want to tell people, too, what's happening at LMC TV to help this kind of thing not to happen again, and that is that we're installing and still in the process of installing a very sophisticated computerized system to give us that will play back our program scheduling. And this will be able to control Channel 73, we'll be able to control what goes out on that, and program NASA from, we'll be basically programming NASA from the time, our normal programming from 73 goes out at 6 o'clock at night and runs to approximately 11 o'clock at night. And that is that module, that time slot. Everything else will generally be NASA. And when there is a shuttle launch, we may even preempt some of that programming that goes on from 6 to 10. The only other thing that's happening at the time on Channel 73 is that Mamaroneck High School has MHS Info, which is their daily news show.
Right.
That goes on live at 9:45 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Right.
And it's going to be repeated at 6:30 p.m. in the evening in our regular time slot, in our regular programming.
Okay, so people can, but they'll be able to check the bulletin board to get the schedules and find out what programs will be on what station at what time, if they want to make sure that they're there to catch it, and you'll make sure that they do.
Well, I will say this too, that we're in the process of posting our daily schedule up on the bulletin board.
Right.
And we've gotten it up there most days, and we're basically it's a question of person power. We've hired a new person at LMC TV. He'll be starting on Monday.
Right.
And we're anticipating being able to get our daily programming up there so that people can watch the bulletin board during the day. And the bulletin board will generally be up on Channel 72 from 12 noon to 6 p.m.
That's good.
And you can watch it, get our schedule, and we'll be posting our schedule elsewhere. It comes out, and the highlights of our schedule come out weekly in the Sound in Town report.
Oh, good. Okay, so in the Sound in Town report, we can find out a local listing by watching cable station 73,
72,
72, and 73 at times.
To 6, right.
We can get our listing that way. And I'm glad you're bringing new people in to help, but without your guidance, I don't know where they'd be. So
well, that's kind of you, but I'm just it's a complicated job running a channel, running a station, and programming 3 channels, and we're trying to bring in the best possible programming in the best possible way.
You're doing a terrific job, and
Yep.
come by any time with updates.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weeknight at 7 p.m. We record 1 show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news show is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs from the landmark Walter's Hot Dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, in care of LMC TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
So thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. We'll see you next week.
Good show.
Oh, no, very good. Amy Oehme. I changed the one at the beginning, but I didn't. The Lee family chickens get a reprieve while the town of Mamaroneck ponders their next move.
New York City man pleads guilty to carjacking and is also charged with kidnapping, sexual abuse, and assault of a Mamaroneck woman.
IKEA's environmental impact statement is in the hands of officials.
Westchester County wants a new prison and will let the voters decide.
And the League of Women Voters wants to help you get out there and vote. Those stories and more all right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the second week of October 2000. I'm Christina Bolger.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story. Attention Mamaroneck town residents, as of October 1st, summonses will be issued to anyone who leaves their garbage out earlier than the night before. Mamaroneck town code enforcement officers will be patrolling the area on a more regular basis and will only issue one warning before they start passing out tickets. Mamaroneck Town Administrator Stephen Altieri was quoted in the Journal News saying the increased enforcement is needed to keep the neighborhoods clean. Fines for repeat offenders will range from $25 to $250. Remember, the law says you can only put your garbage out the night before your morning pickup.
I'm serious about that.
I know.
Rising home heating fuel costs has some homeowners worried. For some insight on the issue, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Some economists and some politicians are wondering if it is a good idea for President Clinton to release 570 million barrels of solid crude oil. The market needs sweet crude to ease shortages of products such as gasoline. The 570 million barrels is nothing compared to the resources of OPEC. And it is not clear as to how the cartel will respond to this government's action. According to George D. Smith, an NYU economist, the oil market is not guided by some invisible hand. The oil market is subject to various strategic pressures. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
The race for Mamaroneck Village trustees is heating up as we approach the November 7th election date. There are 3 seats up on the board, and there are many hot issues to be debated, such as Harbor Island and village finances. It is sure to be an exciting race as 6 candidates vie for the 3 seats. The Republican incumbents Martha Sokol-McCarty, Phil Trifoletti, and Mike Sedano are all seeking re-election. Democrats Kathy Savolt, Pete McConnell, and Guy Zarega are seeking first-time elections. Some say that this election will be a race for control of the trustee panel. Currently, the 5-member board is dominated by Republicans, which some say has caused debates to erupt between the Democratic mayor, Debbie Chapin, and the Republican-dominated board. If just one Democrat were elected this November, the Board of Trustees would have more Democrats. The trustees earn $5,000 a year for their service to the village. We look forward to having the candidates appear in a future show so that you can be a more informed voter. Progress is promised is the Republican campaign slogan. They are saying they have worked hard to produce the lowest tax increase in 15 years and the largest surplus in village history. Democrats say the Republicans have put the village into excessive debt. Village finances is one of the major issues facing candidates in this year's election, as well as the development of Harbor Island Park. Again, we hope to bring you more from the candidates at a later program. Be sure to vote November 7th.
And speaking of elections, the town of Mamaroneck has 1 seat open on its board, and that's a good thing because there is only 1 candidate applying for the job. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel has more.
The Democrats will retain their 4-to-1 majority in the town of Mamaroneck. The Republicans will not field a candidate for the seat vacated by Valerie Moore O'Keefe when she became supervisor last year. Nancy Seligson, running unopposed, will serve the remaining 1 year of Valerie Moore O'Keefe's 2-year term. Seligson is head of the Westchester County's Environmental Management Council and is a member of the New York State Long Island Sound Coastal Advisory Commission. Ms. Seligson says she will concentrate her energies on the IKEA project and on ways the town of Mamaroneck can preserve the environment. Mamaroneck Town Board members are paid $5,000 a year. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The IKEA battle is still going strong as the city of New Rochelle reviews the Draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, from IKEA North America, prepared by Tim Miller Associates, a reputable engineering firm. The council is expected to set public hearings which may draw hundreds of people. The town of Mamaroneck has continued to release several press releases reinforcing their disapproval of the project and the impact it would have on the municipality. The DEIS is an extensive 980-page document, which is the results of an 11-month study. Jim Gadula, IKEA project manager, recently spoke with William O'Shaughnessy on WVOX radio about IKEA's mission to build one of its furniture stores in a New Rochelle neighborhood. Gadula stuck to the DEIS, citing its study of 48 intersections and the belief that 44 will work as well or better with some street widening and adjustments to traffic light timing. He is quoted in a local paper with saying that IKEA is committed to working with the city of New Rochelle and the surrounding communities to redevelop the area into a vibrant site that will produce jobs, increase tax revenues, and bring many other benefits to the community. We will bring you more on scheduled public hearing dates regarding IKEA development.
27-year-old Thorne Darrell Farmer has pleaded guilty to first-degree robbery before State Supreme Court Judge Joseph K. West. Farmer was arrested in connection with an alleged carjacking of a Mamaroneck woman at her home last year. The woman was allegedly robbed at gunpoint by 2 men. She was then forced back into her minivan where she was pistol whipped and sexually abused. She was then left bound, gagged, and undressed in the Bronx. Farmer was tracked down in Alabama and returned to New York, where he now faces a maximum prison term of 25 years to life. Farmer's accomplice has never been found or identified. If you have any information about Farmer's accomplice, call Westchester Crime Stoppers at 1-800-898-TIPS. Farmer is scheduled for sentencing on November 8th.
Looking for a great deal on an Oriental rug and serve a worthy cause at the same time? For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Well, I'm here with Sal Lagani. How are you tonight?
Very good, Amy. Thank you for the invitation up here.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm happy to be able to have this chance to let people know that on October 14th and 15th at the Pavilion at Harbor Island, you'll be hosting the second annual rug sale.
Mamaroneck Rotary Rug Sale.
The Mamaroneck Rotary Rug Sale. Let me get that straight.
That's correct.
And we are joined here with Mike McCree. How are you tonight, Mike?
Nice to be here.
I'm glad you could join us.
And nice to meet you.
Sal, I understand that this is going to be an event that, first of all, we're going to find a wonderful collection of rugs, and the monies that will be taken here, some of that will benefit some of the great benefits and causes that you use your money for at the Rotary Club. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. The rugs that are being sold by Caravan Connection with Mike McCree, we get a percentage of whatever they sell. And we hope that to sell all the rugs that are down there. So everybody come on down, take a look at them. We have, Mike will tell you exactly what we have down there and the types of rugs. Okay. We sponsor a number of activities go on in the Village of Mamaroneck for teenagers, adults, senior citizens, and part of international work. And we donate our money to good causes.
I know you do great work. Now let's get down to finding out what it is that's going to be for sale so we can raise some of this money for your good work.
That's right.
What are you going to have there, Mike?
Well, my wife and I and the Caravan Connection will have a representative sampling of maybe 200, 250 Oriental carpets from all the different principal weaving countries of the world. So we'll have carpets there from India and Iran, Turkey, China, Pakistan. We might have some Afghani things. There'll be a mixture of a lot of different qualities. We'll attempt to have different colors, different textures, different sizes, but basically anything that anybody could possibly imagine in the world of hand-knotted Oriental carpets, we either will have there or we have access to.
Oh, good, very good. I also know just from what little decorating I've done on my own that it is known in the design world that you usually should start decorating a room from the floor up as you would build a house. What you told me, the foundation is built on the floor covering.
Yeah. My experience has been that that's true. I mean, it's a little bit self-serving because obviously I want people to buy their Oriental carpets first, but most interior designers will tell you, start with the carpet. The richness, the character of the room really comes primarily from whatever floor covering that you have here. So when possible, start with the carpet. If people need any kind of insights, if they want to benefit from my experience, I could come over and offer a free decorating visitation, a consultation to help them out to get started there. Now, oftentimes people don't start with the Oriental carpet. They'll have furniture, they'll have wallpaper, they'll have fabrics, etc. If they have those things and they bring samples of the fabrics down to us, we'll know where to direct them to help out with their interior design work.
So you'll be able to help out with their design questions, and also you told me before that they'll be able to do delivering as well.
Well, it's critically important that when somebody looks at an Oriental carpet that they have the opportunity to actually look at the carpet within the context of their home. The lighting that you have at your house, the kinds of light that you get in morning, afternoon, evening, that'll all change the character of the carpet. So you have to evaluate the carpet at home
I understand.
Not at the pavilion. So we give people a chance to try things out actually in their homes, and after a period of 2 or 3 days of looking at the carpet, if they're satisfied, then we go through it.
I understand. Well, thank you very much for that insight, Mike. And Sal, once again, thank you for putting these type of events together. That it's great for the people of Mamaroneck and Larchmont who want to get a great sampling of rugs together in one place at one time. And it's also great what you're doing with the Rotary Club. So I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amy.
Okay.
And thank you, Sal.
Mike, thank you. We'll see you on the 14th of October.
14th and 15th at the Harbor Island Pavilion.
That's correct.
A new prison referendum is being offered for voter approval this November. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray has more.
In November, Westchester voters will decide to replace the old penitentiary or not to replace. The County Board of Legislators voted 16-1 in favor of placing the referendum to the people. James Marciano, Republican of New Rochelle, thought more information was needed before the Valhalla Penitentiary should be replaced. The replacement cost would be in the area of $60 million. The facility was built in 1916 and has been used 24 hours a day for 84 years. The roof is, quote, shot, unquote. Prisoners can sometimes open locked doors, and cell blocks are empty because of poor conditions and overcrowding. This is also a problem. Election Day is November 7th. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
The Larchmont Mamaroneck League of Women Voters wants you to get out there and vote. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel has the story.
Empowered with a $2,000 grant from the National League of Women's Voter Education Fund, our local Larchmont Mamaroneck League of Women Voters will be working hard on getting people to come out and vote. The League wants to target non-voters or people who generally don't come out to vote. Informational videos will be produced explaining voter registration, absentee voting, and how to use the voting booths. The League of Women Voters will also be working with the Village of Mamaroneck Hispanic Resource Center to produce the videos in Spanish as well. The videos will explain how important it is that you vote and participate in the electoral process. The League videos will air all this month and right up to the election day. The videos can be seen right here on LMC-TV. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
The 19 chickens on Homix Road get a reprieve, at least for now, while the Mamaroneck Town Board reconsiders its position on a new law concerning animals that are kept within the town limits. Taiwanese film director Ang Lee and his family have been caring for the chickens for the past 3 years. They are pets for his 2 children. Mr. Lee's wife, Jane Lee, has agreed to move the chicken coop from the front of the house to the backyard in accordance with the Town of Mamaroneck zoning laws. Lee's neighbors are also like the idea of the chicken coop being relocated to the backyard. Some of the neighbors don't think the Lees should have to get rid of the chickens. Shelley Smith-Midens, a neighbor of the Lees on Homix Road, was quoted in the Journal News saying, "Everyone has an acre here. I don't want to tell my neighbors what to do. Whatever they want to do, do." End of quote. If the new law says the chickens must go, the Lee family will have 90 days to remove the 19 hens.
You know, Christina, we had a chicken coop growing up in our backyard.
Oh, did you? Okay, it was in the backyard.
Right, but that wasn't in Mamaroneck. Oh, okay.
At least they're not roosters.
That's true.
Anyway, an old historical cannon has been refurbished and returned to Flint Park. Here with her report is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
The newly refurbished German artillery cannon once again sits in Flint Park in Larchmont. The cannon is there to remind residents of the great sacrifices that were made and maybe to appreciate a little bit more the life they now enjoy. The cannon was given to the village of Larchmont as a war trophy back in 1920. And after World War I, the Larchmont Village Board made a request to the War Department for the War Memorial. Rob Snedeker, a local craftsman, was given the task of refurbishing the cannon and has done a great job. So go out and see it. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, Channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you. And by the way, we'd like to thank and welcome Jeff Holden, an MHS freshman, to our behind-the-scenes team.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's Hot Dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Christina Bolger.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. We'll see you next week. And we'd like to extend our get well wishes to LMC-TV Studio 2 coordinator, Debbie Slansky. Debbie has always been a big help to us here at the news show, and we hope she feels better soon.
We miss you. We're thinking good thoughts.
Don't look for any refunds from Con Ed. I'll have the story.
Mamaroneck Village is concerned about losing trees.
There's a brand new firehouse coming to the village of Mamaroneck. We'll tell you where.
Mamaroneck Town Councilman Ernest Odierner stopped by to tell us about townofmamaroneck.com.
And good news for bypass patients and good news for golfers, all coming up right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the last week of October 2000. I'm Christina Bolger.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story. More news at Harbor Island regarding the sports complex. It seems that Harborview Racquet Club is planning to launch a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that claims the village of Mamaroneck damaged its business reputation. All this while settlement talks continue in the dispute over who gets to build a $1.9 million indoor tennis and multi-sports center at Harbor Island Park. Harbor View has operated winter tennis bubbles at the park since 1978. The newly filed claim says the village has exposed Harbor View and its president, Peter Kaplan, to, quote, public contempt and ridicule, which has hurt their business and caused substantial emotional distress, end quote. The village continues its defense that Harbor View should not be allowed to build the new center planned for Harbor Island Park. In June, State Supreme Court Justice John de Blasi barred the village from any company other than Harbor View, which has the right of first refusal, from building the facility. The village wants to give a contract to Sports Time, a Long Island-based company that owns several multi-sport centers. Kaplan said he never wanted the dispute to end up in court and would like to build the project planned for Harbor Island. We'll continue to keep you updated.
In a unanimous vote, the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees decided to build a new hook and ladder firehouse. The old hook and ladder firehouse is over 100 years old. The estimate to renovate the old firehouse was around $826,000. To build a new two-bay, 9,000-square-foot facility, estimates from Dolph Rotfeld Engineering of Tarrytown says it will cost $978,000. Part of the cost will be offset from the sale of the old firehouse. The location for the new hook and ladder firehouse is still up in the air. There are two sites currently on the table. One of the sites is behind the old Village Hall on Johnson Avenue, and the other site is near the Volunteers Firehouse on Mamaroneck Avenue. There are still no completed formal plans and no date for the start of construction. Mamaroneck Fire Chief David Barney agrees with the Village Board's decision to build a new firehouse. Chief Barney was quoted in the Journal News saying, "In the past, there was never a definite commitment, and it never happened. Now we basically got the commitment, and that's the direction we're going," end of quote. The Mamaroneck Village Board meetings can be seen on LMC-TV, Channel 73, and we here at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News on Channel 72 also will keep you abreast of this story as it develops.
And speaking of firehouses, the Village of Larchmont Fire Department is now offering training for young volunteers. For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
The Village of Larchmont Fire Cadet Program is looking for some new members. The Larchmont Fire Department will train you in fire protection and emergency service. The program is open to men and women, and to qualify, you must be a resident of the Village of Larchmont or live nearby. So residents of the town and Village of Mamaroneck are also included. You must also be between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. New cadets will be taught to assist in support roles at fire scenes, as well as non-emergency departmental functions. Larchmont Fire Chief Jim Sweeney was quoted in the Journal News as saying, "Experience in a public service activity like this can also be a plus on a job or college application," end of quote. Besides the cadets, the Village of Larchmont Fire Department has 15 career staff firefighters and 40 volunteers. So if you're interested in the Larchmont Fire Cadet Program, you can contact Larchmont Village Trustee Ned Benton, who also happens to be the Larchmont Fire Commissioner, at 834-2893. That's 834-2893. Or you can email him at nbenton@jj.cuny.edu. Let me repeat that. That's nbenton at jjay.cuny.edu. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Controversy continues over the New Rochelle IKEA project as the New Rochelle City Council formally accepted the draft environmental impact statement given to them this past September. Before the meeting, New Rochelle Mayor Tim Idoni received a letter from the town of Mamaroneck questioning whether the environmental impact statement was ready for public review. It seems the draft was changed and portions of the statement on air quality and pollution impacts were removed. The New Rochelle attorney Michael Zarin was quoted in the Journal News saying, "Some of the information that was included in there is not applicable under the current regulations," end of quote. A public hearing on the IKEA environmental impact statement will be on November 16th at 6:30 p.m. in the New Rochelle City Hall.
The owner of Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, who abandoned a plan to build 54 luxury townhouses along its Long Island Sound property 5 months ago, is proposing another idea. A new development plan would be geared toward expanding and renovating the club to attract more club members and catered events. The club, which has struggled against declining membership and finances, hopes to keep the club competitive by adding a second-floor ballroom to accommodate 2 simultaneous parties, and a larger boathouse that would increase the club's summer day camp from 50 to 100 children. The proposal also includes the addition of 1 tennis court, a winter bubble, and expanding the pro shop. The club suffered losses of $1.98 million from November 1991 to November 1998. All the plans comply with existing village zoning laws, says Bernard Rosenshine, who is submitting the expansion and renovation plan. Some residents disapprove with this development plan, and they're concerned with environmental effects and increased traffic. Rosenshine says his new plan would maintain the club's recreational use. You can be sure that this proposal will be examined carefully by Mamaroneck Village Mayor Debbie Chapin and the village board. We'll keep you updated.
Mamaroneck Village residents and businesses might soon be able to leave 5 trash cans out at the curb instead of the current 3 now allowed. Mamaroneck Village Manager Michael Blau has a few more details to clear up with the Department of Public Works. Specifically, how much garbage will be collected over and above the current levels. The Village of Mamaroneck currently pays $21 per ton for the garbage they leave at the county dump. The new policy is being considered because the village wants to make it easier for residents who hold special events. A public hearing on the increase of trash bins in the Village of Mamaroneck will be held on Monday, the 23rd at the Old Village Hall, 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue, here in the Village. If you missed the meetings, you can catch a replay of it on LMC-TV, Channel 73, all through this week. Check out the new time schedule board on this channel, Channel 72, for the exact times the show will be aired.
A federal court has just ruled that the state legislature exceeded its authority when it enacted a law that said Con Ed of New York could not pass on additional fuel costs to its customers, which were associated with the shutdown of Indian Point 2. Con Ed had surcharged customers $2 a month to cover the additional costs it incurred by obtaining other fuel after a radiation leak forced the nuclear power plant to close. In this decision, Judge Lawrence Kahn in federal court in Albany said the Indian Point law was unconstitutional. He also supported Con Ed's assertion that the state law found the company guilty and punished it without a trial. Assemblyman Richard Brodsky, who argued the case against Con Ed, along with the Attorney General and the state's Public Service Commission, which regulates the utility, disagreed with the ruling and say an appeal will be filed quickly. The refunds for customers would have been anywhere from $14 to $21.
That would have been nice. Remember this website, townofmamaroneck.com. Ernest Odierna dropped by and spoke with Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel about the new website.
When last we spoke, we were talking about the website that was eminent to come.
Any
you had
minute,
begun
right,
development on it, and I wanted to find out how far have you gotten? Where are you at right now?
Well, we're trying to get some really nice pictures of the town of Mamaroneck implanted on the website.
Right.
We have some pictures. We want to get some more. We want them to be colorful. We want them to be in the appropriate place on the website. And then we want the council people to be able to get a sense that they approve before we just go public with it. And also, one of the key aspects of the page will be the participation from the department heads. So we want their blessing and their concurrence that what we've done it meets the high standards that we set in the beginning.
And how are you going about getting these photographs?
Well, we'll probably tour around the town and supplement some of the pictures that we already have. I mean, there are certain pictures that are really nice. The town has some beautiful sights. Right. Unfortunately, we can't go back to the middle of the summer and take a picture at the pool.
No, but let's say
for various reasons.
Let's say there are people who live in this town that are very creative with their cameras, and they do take a picture. Can they submit that to you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The pictures will be something that can be changed during the year very easily.
Okay.
So
and
we
who
intend
should they submit those to?
I would say to Steve Altieri, who's the town administrator.
Okay.
We intend to show it as a seasonal feature.
That would
so
be
that The snowfall will depict different scenes in the town, different times of the year, and the waterfall at the Larchmont Gardens Lake, the swimming pool, or the hockey rink, or the ice skating. So
now
those will all
that
be
would
shown.
be only one area to key into, but you'll have many different areas once you've logged on to the site.
Oh, sure.
And if you wanted to take a look at something else regarding the town, what other highlights would they find?
You'll be able to get forms if you wanted to perhaps get a dog permit or an alarm permit or a parking permit. You could download them, print them, send your check in with them, and do your business. You could find information about elections. You could find information about recreational activities. You could find out about recycling or garbage pickup schedules.
Or programming on LMC.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in addition to the LMT scheduling, we'd love to be able to show what's happening from an entertainment standpoint for various age groups within the whole community.
Well,
we really are all together.
The sooner the better.
Yes.
I want this site up. And what is the name of the site?
It's going to be called townofmamaroneck.org.
Townofmamaroneck.org.
Yes.
The sooner the better.
Sooner the better, I know. And we intend to promote it as heavily as we can. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay.
There's good news for bypass patients. A new study has just been released. Here with the details is Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maria Savarino.
The death rate is down for bypass patients. Since we are fourth in the state in volume of coronary bypass surgery, this is welcoming news. According to the Journal News, the mortality rate in New York's hospitals that perform coronary bypass surgery fell about 37% in 1997. A total of 20,220 coronary bypass surgeries were performed statewide in 1997. Various elements are used when considering the risk rating of the hospitals that were involved in the study. But when all factors are considered, a hospital's mortality rate may not accurately reflect the level of care. According to the State Department of Health, the following hospitals performed at least 500 heart bypass surgeries in 1997 and have the highest risk-adjusted mortality rates. St. Vincent's Hospital leads in New York City with 3.66%, Buffalo General 3.5%, Lenox Hill in New York City with 3.24%, New York University Hospital 2.76%, Westchester Medical Center 2.58%, Albany Medical Center 2.47%, Maimonides in New York City 2.45%. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maria Savarino.
In an effort to help the environment and to stop healthy trees from being destroyed, the Village of Mamaroneck has come up with some ideas. To fill us in, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin.
Thinking of cutting down a tree? Well, you may have to think again. A law proposed in the Village of Mamaroneck would stop residents from chopping down trees without first obtaining a special permit from a citizens committee. As drafted, the proposal would affect properties of at least 10,000 square feet and require a showing of hardship for the timber to fall. According to the Journal News, Mayor Debbie Chapin says the law is designed to protect the environment and to save beautiful trees. But she is concerned about leaving the decisions to a committee of residents who may not have sufficient experience with trees. Village trustees have agreed that the proposed law does need to be changed, so in the meantime, the trustees will be looking at the tree laws in other local communities and consulting arborists about the proposal. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
And we'd like to welcome Maura to the news show. And remember, if you're interested in volunteering to put this news program together, stay tuned for details at the end of our broadcast.
Well, bad news on the West Nile virus front. It seems the virus is here to stay. For more, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maria Savarino.
Scientists are now saying that the West Nile virus is here to stay, and within 3 years, the virus will reach across the country. The West Nile virus was first identified in the 1930s on the African continent in the country called Uganda. The virus affects mainly the very young and the elderly. What is worrying scientists is that the virus is spreading from just birds to animals like chipmunks, raccoons, and bats. The types of mosquitoes that are transmitting the virus went from 1 to 8. One of the new mosquitoes, the Aedes vexans, which is very common in North America, is well known to have a taste for mammals and humans. Last year, when the virus was first detected, 7 people died and 62 were seriously ill. This year so far, the numbers are lower, with 1 fatality and 17 serious cases. The spraying we have endured this past spring and summer is credited with the lower numbers, but clearly more needs to be done. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maria Severino.
Well, it looks like all those golf lessons I took over the summer are going to come in handy. Westchester County has finally released money for a new public golf course. Here with the story is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Teresa DiRoberto. Teresa?
County officials have been working for years to transform the IBM property known as Hudson Hills into a golf course. And last week, they got the vote from county legislators authorizing $7 million to construct the course. Legislator Richard Green is quoted as saying, "We've finally gotten Hudson Hills out of the rough and onto the green." The benefit is twofold. The government will receive revenue, and a new course will reduce the usage burden on our other courses. The county operates 5 other golf courses, including Sprain Lake, Dunwoody, Maplemore, Saxon Woods, and Mohansick. Construction is due to begin early next year. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Teresa DiRoberto.
Some exciting things are in the works over at the Larchmont Rotary Club. Here with an interview is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Larchmont Rotary, and we meet at the Larchmont Yacht Club on Fridays at 12 o'clock. We're very happy to put on the performance, and we were very happy of the turnout and the people that came. We appreciate the community support that we get.
This is great. And you are also sending some very important messages, important information, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Javier Sancho. How are you today?
Very well, thank
you spoke beautifully, and I'm sure some of the information you passed on, if you could illuminate to our viewers.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it was a pleasure. I was invited by the Rotary to speak about the European Union, the process of European integration. And I was very thrilled and very honored to be among friends and neighbors to speak about this. This is what I do, it's my job. So it was very important, and I spoke about what the European Union is, what it's doing, and the way ahead, and also the role that the European Union is playing in world politics and trade. And also, I spoke a little bit about EU-US relations. I think it's a very important subject.
Right. And now, how is this moving along, do you see? What do you see now in the short-term future?
For the European Union,
yes.
You mean? Well, I see a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, but a lot of political will to go ahead. This is just the logical consequence of integration and willing to be together.
And as we spoke about before, the long term of the coming together and the commonality?
Yeah, just what you said, commonality and union. I mean, Europeans living together, just trading and being together, exchanging views. You know, the European Union is actually peace. When I say peace, I don't mean absence of war. I mean real peace, people interacting, and this is what we are working for.
Well, that's very good. Thank you for lending your support and your information for all of us.
A pleasure.
Hope you come back to speak again real soon. Thank you again for helping promote this and bringing it for all of us to learn and be part of. Thank you.
And if you're interested in more information about the Rotary Club of Larchmont, please call 833-0279. And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. And we record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, the news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side. just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's Hot Dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, please bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Christina Bolger.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. We'll see you next week.
And I'd like to introduce you to Shelby. This is Debbie Solansky's new job.
And we're glad to see that she's up and about and doing much better.
Yes, we're glad to hear you're doing better, and we can certainly see why. Isn't he adorable? The sweetest thing, Shelby.
New law for sex offenders is now in the books.
The town of Mamaroneck has started work on its 2001 budget.
The EPA is about to make our water better tasting. We'll tell you how.
There was a plane crash at the county airport and we'll have a report.
And updates on the West Nile virus, Harbor Island Tennis, IKEA, and the United Nations delegates visit Rhinebeck High School. All right here on this edition of Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to the Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News Show for the last full week of October 2000. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story?
The tentative budget for the town for 2001 has just been released. The $20.7 million budget calls for a 3.3% rise of property taxes. The increase accounts for higher salaries and benefits for town employees, an increase in insurance costs, new playground equipment, tennis court resurfacing, and a new mainframe computer for the town center. Some of the salary raises have already been negotiated. Under the tentative budget, the proposed tax rate would be $173.50 per $1,000 of a home's assessed value. This translates into an increase of $5.75 for $1,000. For residents of Larchmont and Mamaroneck Village, the tax rate would drop by 2%. A public hearing is scheduled for December 6 at the town center. The budget is scheduled to be adopted at the town board meeting on December 20th.
The main community group opposed to building IKEA, called Westchester Residents Against IKEA Now, or RAIN, in a letter to New Rochelle Mayor Tim Idoni and in a press statement, said the traffic study, which was part of the larger draft environmental impact statement, is fundamentally flawed. The reason for this accusation is that the study is based on traffic counts during the slowest months for retail sales. The study counted traffic at IKEA's Elizabeth, New Jersey store to estimate how much traffic would come to New Rochelle. RAIN feels that IKEA has seriously underrepresented the projected number of shoppers, a figure upon which all subsequent traffic, air quality, and noise analysis is based. It also claims that the study does not consider traffic on I-95. IKEA wants to build a store on about 15 acres now occupied by dozens of homes and businesses and 2 churches. The city has declared the area as blighted. IKEA's president of Urban General Partners, Jim Gadula, says the traffic study, which Rain disagrees with, was conducted at its busiest time of year, which differs from the traditional busiest time of year in retail. Robert Spolzino, the special counsel that Mamaroneck has hired to battle the IKEA proposal, said that the environmental study acknowledges that the increased traffic will contribute to a, quote, heightened sense of urbanism, end quote, along Murray Avenue, Weaver Street, Pinebrook Boulevard, Beachmont Drive, and other streets. A public hearing is set for November 16th at New Rochelle City Hall.
The issue of who should operate the tennis courts at Harbor Island Park is attracting a lot of attention from residents. The village board would like to contract a new company to do this job. Long Island-based Sport Time would operate new facilities. But the current operator, Harborview Racquet Club, and its president, Peter Kaplan, would like to continue the existing relationship with the village. Kaplan charged that under the contract with the village, he had the right of first refusal. A state Supreme Court has supported Kaplan's position and issued an injunction. The village is appealing this decision. Kaplan's attorney is considering a lawsuit against the village because he and his client believe that Kaplan's business reputation has been damaged by the developments in Mamaroneck. Tennis players in Mamaroneck Village will be disappointed this season as there will be no tennis.
Mamaroneck Village is considering a law that would limit the size of newly constructed homes. The law would introduce a restriction of floor area ratio, or FAR, into the zoning code, preventing two-story homes from being built in some neighborhoods. The Village Board of Trustees will hold a public hearing on the law at the Old Village Hall. Under the new FAR, an owner with 10,000 square feet of residential land could build no more than a 4,500 square foot home, or 45% of the total lot size. Village Mayor Debbie Chapin and local architect Clark Neuringer already have problems with the proposed law, and that issues of scale would be addressed on a case-by-case basis by the Board of Architectural Review. Chapin says she wants to speak with planners, local architects, and residents about whether the FAR legislation is fair. The FAR laws would also restrict some residents from making alterations or additions to their homes. A preliminary report with recommendations is expected to be completed by the end of the year.
This past week, representatives from the United Nations visited with students at Rhinebeck High School. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray has more.
UN representatives from Sweden, Peru, Southeast Asia, and Japan spoke to Rhinebeck High School students about their nation's schools, cultures, and goals. Ton Breck, the manager of the Southeast Asian Developmental Program, states his organization is trying to get more rural families to send their children to school. Even if education is mandated, children are needed to work on the farms. Peru now has 96% of the primary graded children in school. A Miss Murataki of Japan informed the American students about their choices in school as compared to the Japanese students. In Japan, uniformity is expected. Some students thought Americans take their free public education for granted. The Swedish representative said more mothers work in Sweden than in the United States. Some governments in Southeast Asia are giving loans to help women get started in business. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
Sex offenders beware, there's a tougher new law on the books designed just for you. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin.
New York State is getting tougher on sex offenders. A new law targets repeat offenders and those who use the so-called date rape drugs by imposing harsher sentences and creating new crimes. Presently, those who repeatedly commit sexual abuse are guilty of misdemeanors, but that will change. 3 acts of sexual abuse within 10 years now will be a felony called persistent sexual abuse and will be subject to a tougher sentence. For repeat child molesters, the punishment's even harsher, enacting mandatory penalties as severe as life imprisonment against repeaters beginning with their second conviction. According to the Journal News, Governor Pataki says the law aims to ensure that dangerous individuals who prey on our children pay a severe penalty for their vile acts. Another key provision in the law takes aim at those who use date rape drugs, which make victims unconscious when slipped into drinks. Offenders will face consecutive sentences for use of the drug and for any sex crimes committed using the drug. The new law takes effect in February. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
Last week we had bad news to report on the West Nile virus. This week we have good news about the West Nile virus. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel has the story.
There's good news on the West Nile front. There were no cases of the virus in Westchester at all this year. The Westchester County Health Commission credits the prevention measures taken during the spring and summer. More data needs to be researched on exactly how much those prevention measures contributed to the perfect record this year. There was only one fatality this year in all of New York State. Identifying mosquito breeding sites will continue, along with more education about the virus. Both are seen as key elements in fighting the West Nile virus. Last year, Westchester County spent over $4 million on spraying and education. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
There was a small plane crash at Westchester County Airport this past week. For more, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
A Massachusetts couple are lucky to be alive after their single-engine plane crashed this past weekend at Westchester County Airport. Thaddeus Witowski, 53, and his wife Michelle were bruised but okay. They were treated at the Westchester County Medical Center in Valhalla. The Witowskis were flying a single-engine Grumman American AA-1 Clipper, and as they approached runway 29, the right wing of the plane began to dive, and then the nose started to dive. The plane fell abruptly, smashing the landing gear and propeller as the cockpit burst into flames. Miguel Buzo, a line maintenance supervisor, Ramiro Ortiz, another lineman, and Steve Hastings, a flight mechanic, were nearby and ran to the plane and got the couple out. Runway 29 was closed for about 40 minutes to allow the Federal Aviation Administration time to take photographs of the crash. The investigation should take 4 to 8 weeks to complete. Reporting for Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
Laundromats in the village of Mamaroneck may soon become safer, and the village of Larchmont gets a new seniors bus. For more, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
The village of Mamaroneck is looking to require that all village laundromats have attendants during all hours of operation. It has been suggested that unattended laundromats are not safe, and there have been reports of loitering and fighting. Mamaroneck Village Trustee Phil Trifoletti, who is also the head of the Mamaroneck Avenue Task Force here in the village, thinks that requiring laundries to have an attendant is long overdue.
We feel that on the avenue, we do not need any stores, especially places like a dry clean establishment, where there is no attendant in the premise while the store is open. And what's happening now is that we have a dry clean establishment there, and we used to have one in Washingtonville, which was open for probably 10 to 12 hours a day with no attendant in the laundromat. What this tended to do was to make people hang around in the laundromat, hang around outside the laundromat. Had a fair number of police calls at both establishments. A lot of times we would see people who probably were not doing their laundry in there, using the laundromat as a restaurant, eating food in there and just more or less hanging out. So what this law is trying to say is that for the safety of the people who are doing laundry, for the safety of the residents walking on Mamaroneck Avenue, and for the protection of the business owner, we would want to see an attendant in the dry clean establishment and in all establishments on Mamaroneck Avenue during normal working hours.
Let me point out, this is not unique to Mamaroneck Avenue. Off the top of my head, I believe that there are 2 laundromats on Mamaroneck Avenue, one on North Barry Avenue and one at Seaport Plaza, which is the new name of the small shopping center across from McDonald's. So to my knowledge, there are 4 laundromats in the village, some of which at least one of which I believe has an attendant on the premises. Now, it's important to point out also that any existing business which is operating currently, and laundromats are licensed by us or approved by us, the permit is given. Yeah. Any of those that are operating now will have to provide for supervision no later than April 1st, 2000. So
2001.
2001, I'm sorry. So there will be a period of time for them, in fact, a very generous period of time for them to make the necessary business arrangements.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
My property abuts one of the laundromats, not on Mamaroneck Avenue, but actually the one on North Berry. And I would like to request that any and all teeth be added to this policy, because even the one on North Berry, as it operates right now, operates for 14 hours a day, officially. Mm-hmm. It exceeds that on a regular basis. And it is supposed to have attendant from the time that it opens up through mid-morning and then in the evenings, not necessarily in the afternoons. I have had on numerous occasions in the past, and I have sent letters to the city regarding this, I have had trespassers into my property. I have had children of parents into my property using my children's toys. My neighbors have suffered similar problems. We've had problems with, because this one facility was approved without any public facilities in it for restroom and so forth, we've had people urinating and defecating along our property lines. And so anything that you can do to add teeth to this would be greatly appreciated.
I wish we'd had some of your input, well, at the task force while we're putting this together. But I think what this is saying is that there must be an attendant there, and if we need to add teeth to it or, in fact, have some enforcement done, we'll do that.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Laundries will have until April 1st, 2001 to comply. Moving over to the village of Larchmont now, where it's good news for seniors. The village of Larchmont has just received a $15,000 grant to help defray the cost of a new senior citizen bus. The grant was courtesy of a community development block grant from Westchester County. And the new senior bus will be handicapped accessible, which means it will have an elevator for someone with a wheelchair. The village of Larchmont will pick up the rest of the $25,000 tab on the senior bus, which will be used to drive seniors to the village senior center, the doctor's office, and shopping. The old senior bus was 16 years old, and we're happy there's a new one. Thank you. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York 10543.
Well, thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Alyssha Miro.
And I'm Sven Oehme, and we'll see you next week. And we should mention the pumpkin.
Oh, the pumpkin carver. Our beautiful LMC News pumpkin was carved by our very own Jeff Montanero's father. Joseph Montanero, excuse me. And a beautiful job he did.
Yeah.
of Larchmont and Mamaroneck receive big money from Uncle Sam.
A sewage spill in Mamaroneck is quickly contained.
The EPA is about to make our water better tasting. We'll tell you how.
State tests have local schools nervous.
And there's a new amnesty program for guns, and Rhinebeck High School holds a fundraiser for the arts. Those stories and more coming up right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News Show for the first full week of November 2000. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. Our top story. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit in state Supreme Court against Mamaroneck Town is being planned by a New Rochelle woman whose husband was killed when a 30-foot town-owned tree fell on him last spring. Maria Barajas, the wife of Miguel Barajas, has filed a notice of claim against the town that says they were negligent in not removing the ash tree on Damon Terrace before killing her 32-year-old husband on May 27th of this year. Miguel Barajas was pushing a lawnmower from a job he had just completed when the tree suddenly fell and crushed him. He died a short time after the accident at Sound Shore Medical Center in New Rochelle from multiple fractures of the skull and spine. Joseph Albanese, attorney for Barajas' widow, said that arborists who studied the dead tree, which is being held at the town's Department of Public Works yard, determined that its top had been trimmed, but it had been dead for many years. The tree was located across the street from Murray Avenue School, an elementary school in Larchmont. The notice of claim filed by Barajas reserves the right for her to sue for personal injury, pain and suffering, and wrongful death based on the allegations of gross negligence and wanton reckless disregard for public safety. Mamaroneck Town Administrator Steve Altieri said they offered financial assistance to Barajas and their condolences, but did not give her aid because she had not requested any. Altieri said in the Journal News that the town did not know the tree was dead before it fell. The lawsuit has been forwarded to the town's insurance company.
Many people in the New York metropolitan area think that our tap water is excellent, but it is going to get even better. The smell and the taste will be improved next summer when stricter new standards to limit the phosphorus in the reservoir's water supply will go into effect. The new standards have just been approved by the Environmental Protection Agency, and under the new guidelines, the amount of phosphorus is limited to 15 micrograms per liter. Previously, the standard was 20 micrograms per liter. During this summer, the actual level was 17 micrograms, and a number of people complained about the smell and taste. Because of the new limits, some sewage treatment plants will have to add new equipment to improve the treatment of sewage of the water that is released after the treatment. Stricter controls on the use of lawn fertilizers and of farm runoff may also have to be implemented. Environmental organizations welcomed the new guidelines, but said that even stricter guidelines were needed.
Well, the elections are coming up this week, and here with a recap is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin.
As we all know, Tuesday, November 7th is Election Day. Now, while the campaign for president gets the most attention, there are also candidates in our area running for Congress, the State Assembly and Senate, local government, and judicial posts. Democrat Hillary Rodham Clinton and Republican Rick Lazio are battling for the seat in the U.S. Senate to be vacated by Senator Daniel Moynihan. In the race for the 18th district for the House of Representatives, Republican John Vonglis opposes the incumbent Democrat Nita Lowey. State Senator Susie Oppenheimer, a Democrat, has no Republican challenger, but Right to Life Party candidate Daniel Schweitzer is running against her. In the race for the State Assembly, incumbent Democrat Ronald Tochi is in a similar position. He is only opposed by Right to Life Party candidate Sheila Naughton. In Mamaroneck Village, the incumbent Republicans Martha Sokol-McCarty, Philip Trifoletti, and Michael Sudano are opposed by 3 Democrats. They are Guy Zarega, Kathy Savolt, and Peter McConnell. Republican Village Justice Roger Serlin is running unopposed for a new term. In the town, Democrat Nancy Seligson is running unopposed. She was appointed in January when Valerie Moore O'Keefe became town supervisor. In the judicial races, former Westchester County Executive Andrew P. O'Rourke, now an acting state Supreme Court justice, he's running for an open seat against Democrat William Giacomo. In the race for an open seat on the Westchester County Court, Republican Alphonse Neclario is facing Democrat Lester Adler. Republican incumbent Albert J. Emanuele is opposed by Democrat Anthony A. Scarpino, Jr. In the race for Westchester Surrogate's Court. As this news show is shown on LMC-TV throughout the week, the results of the above races will be known by Wednesday, but we won't be able to update our program. We will, however, have the newly elected politicians on our show in the near future. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
History is made in space these days, as the first inhabitants of the newly built space stations have arrived and are settling into their new home in the sky. Watch the NASA broadcasts on LMC-TV's Channel 73 and see how the astronauts continue to improve the space station.
Well, the new state regents are worrying some school districts. For more, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Some school superintendents want to delay the mandated regents exams for the spring term. Chancellor Hayden of the New York State Board of Regents believes that there is a disconnect in the middle school and there needs to be an improvement in aligning the elementary and high school curricula. The 8th grade tests are one part of the 3-tiered testing system in New York State, which by 2004 will require students to pass 5 regent examinations or their equivalent to obtain a high school diploma. In the 4th and 8th grades, these tests are intended to point out strengths and weaknesses. Students who fail the tests are required to receive extra help. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
This past week, there was a sewage spill in Long Island Sound, and the Mamaroneck Sewage Treatment Plant was at fault. To find out why, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Maura Carlin.
Another sewage spill from our community affected the Long Island Sound last week. On October 28th, about 300,000 gallons of partially treated sewage were discharged into the Sound from the Mamaroneck Wastewater Treatment Plant over a 30-minute time period. Health officials say there is no health threat because the problem was caught quickly. Now, no cause was stated for the incident, which is being called an interruption in chlorination. This sewage spill is at least the second incident from this plant this year. On March 30th, repairs at the plant forced workers to send 4.5 million gallons of partially treated sewage into the Sound. County health officials say that leak also did not create health concerns. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Maura Carlin.
Well, get cash for those unwanted guns. Westchester County is starting an amnesty program for guns. For all the details, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
On November 13th and 15th at the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department, a gun buyback program will take place. Westchester County is sponsoring the event and will pay $50 for each handgun and $25 for each rifle handed in with no questions asked. All weapons should be wrapped and tied and, of course, unloaded. The hours for the gun buyback program will be from noon to 6 p.m. The Village of Mamaroneck Police Department is located at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. The Westchester County Amnesty Program for Guns have already collected about 325 weapons. The county has paid out over $14,000 for turned-in handguns and rifles. So if you have any old guns lying around the house, here's your chance to get some cash for them. Remember, the Guns and Rifles buyback program will be Monday the 13th and Wednesday the 15th of November, noon to 6 p.m. at the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department, located at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
How do I love thee? Let me count the cash. This past week, Rhinex students and their teacher, Patricia Ranello, braved the cold weather and held their second annual Walk for the Arts. The event is held to raise money for the arts program at Rhineck High School. Last year, Walk for the Arts raised about $7,000. This year, maybe with your help, they can raise even more. Last year's donations helped pay for new lights in the Rhineck Auditorium. Patricia Ranello has taught in the Rhineck school system for over 21 years and believes a strong arts program makes for a better all-around education. By the way, this year's musical will be Kiss Me, Kate. I hope everybody checks the dates and gets tickets for that.
I love that play. It's great. It's a great musical.
Wonderful. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Well, there's good news for the villages of Larchmont and Mamaroneck. Uncle Sam has some money for improvements. Here with the story is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Teresa DiRoberto.
Larchmont is the big winner of a $1.25 million federal transportation appropriation for new elevators at the Larchmont train station. The village of Mamaroneck will get $250,000 of that money to help pay for improvements planned for the Mamaroneck Avenue streetscape, scheduled to begin early next year. Congresswoman Nita Lowey brought the good news from Washington after the annual federal transportation appropriations bill was signed by President Clinton last week. Wheelchair-bound Larchmont resident Trevor McKay was on hand when Congresswoman Lowey broke the news. Mr. McKay has lobbied a long time for the improvements at the Larchmont train station, and now his hard work will finally pay off. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Teresa DiRoberto.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weeknight at 7 p.m. And we record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 71.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's Hot Dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m., and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Amy Schachtel.
And I'm Alyssha Miro. We'll see you next week.
My favorite.